Welcome to the Morality Machine. My name's Elise.
And I'm Daniel. So today, for today's podcast, we're going to be looking at a whole host of different interesting film characters and deciding how ethical they are, how they're ethical, what ethical framework they fall under, and so on. So to start things off, we're going to be introducing our cast of characters. Do you want to start with your first pick?
Absolutely. So my first character is Russell from the movie Up.
Good afternoon. My name is Russell.
And the first framework that I identified for him is care, but I also think that he fits a little bit with duty. He definitely gets along with people very well, and the duty part, he doesn't really respect autonomy very well. So what's your first character?
Yeah, I'm going with Barbie from the very recent Barbie movie, Greta Gerwig. And I think that she's one of a few characters that has kind of a character arc and goes through different ethics. But I think by the end of the film, she's solidly in like the care ethics category. And I think she's probably not contractarianist.
My second character is Scully from The X-Files. And I think she's most compatible with natural law because she's really focused on rationality and science and how things are in the world.
What I find fantastic is any notion that there are answers beyond the realm of science. The answers are there. You just have to know where to look.
And I think she's least compatible with contractarianism. What's your second character?
Another animated film, I'm going with Marlin from Finding Nemo. And I think, at least at the very beginning, could be most associated with natural law. But then as the film goes on, I think he also kind of moves towards care. And I don't think he is particularly interested in virtue.
My last character is Captain John Miller from Saving Private Ryan. And I think that he fits the most with utilitarianism. Although I at first thought that he fit with virtue, I changed my mind after finding a clip about him.
All right, and ending things off with something a little scary, we've got Macready from The Thing.
We're going to draw a little bit of everybody's blood. We're going to find out who's the thing.
And I think he fits also mostly with utilitarianism, and he's not super caring, so probably not super associated with that ethical framework. All right, so for our next segment, we're going to be doing random pairings. So that means we're going to be pairing each character with a random ethical framework from a list of 6. And I will be starting this off. Let's see what we've got. All right, so first off, we have Marlin the fish, and we're deciding whether or not he is contractarianist. So I would say it's kind of interesting because I think Marlin is like a very passive character generally throughout the film. And I feel like in the like cases of like a social contract, he doesn't have a lot of choice over what kind of social contract he has with like, say, a shark, for example. But I would say in general, he's probably not like super contractarianist.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really think he fits this framework super well, although he does believe in justice. He wants justice
That's
for
true.
his son, but he doesn't fit the framework very well. So the next one is going to be Captain John Miller and duty. I definitely think that one does fit. Although the duty to respect autonomy isn't really something that's on the forefront of his mind. So I don't know that it fits super well, but it's not the worst fit. He cares more about what his job is and less about autonomy and human dignity.
Yeah, I do think like like definitely you kind of intuitively think, okay, a soldier is going to be, associated with duty.
I can't. She reminds me of my niece, sir. Poison, get the kid back up there. Captain, the decent thing to do is to at least take her down the road to the next town. We're not here to do the decent thing. We're here to follow fucking orders.
But I agree, there are like some aspects to kind of the philosophy that make it a little iffy. Okay, moving right along, we've got Russell and natural law, which to me is just kind of really funny. As a Boy Scout, I feel like, I don't know, I was in Boy Scouts for a little bit, and like there's a lot of structure involved that is kind of imposed upon like nature and such things. And just in general, I feel like he's definitely operating on a much more like, structured sort of framework.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of a whimsical child, and it doesn't really fit like the
That too, yeah.
moral principles implicit in nature and rationality kind of structure. Like he doesn't struggle to believe that a snipe exists or that a talking dog exists. So I don't think that he's a very rational,
Definitely.
So our next pairing is Barbie and utilitarianism. At first glance, I didn't think that this one fit, but also I think like the Barbies are really about the like everybody being happy, not just the Barbies. They also want the Kens to be happy and everybody in Barbie land. So the greatest good for the greatest number of people is definitely a fair assessment of their philosophy.
I don't know. At the same time, I feel like the fact that they kind of like include the Kens at the end kind of shows that they're not really willing to make, and we're talking about Barbie specifically here, but she's not really willing to make sacrifices like for the greater good. But I don't know, like I definitely see, like I think she's very concerned with the greater good. So yeah, in that sense, like definitely. All right, speeding through these last two really quick. We've got Scully combined with care/feminist. And I do think that Scully can be kind of cold sometimes, but in general, I feel like there are moments where she shows like some serious care towards what is his name? Mulder?
Mulder, yes.
There we go.
There are definitely moments where people are injured or in times of trouble that her care definitely comes out. So our last pairing is R.J. McCready and virtue ethics. I don't think that this is a main ethical framework that he would live by.
Mm-hmm.
Honesty wasn't really the main thing that he cared about when they were being attacked by the Thing. Definitely not.
Yeah, no, and he drinks a lot. And I think he has his vices. So probably not virtue. All right, now that we have our 6 pairings, we're going to rank those pairings in terms of like from kind of the ones that make the most sense to the ones that make the least sense. So what do you think?
I don't know. How contractarian do you think Marlon is? I think that might be on the lower end.
Definitely on the lower end.
I think we would put that towards the bottom, if not the bottom.
Yeah.
Although Russell and natural law could definitely...
Yeah, also pretty low.
Yeah.
I think, duty with John Miller definitely does make sense. I kind of liked Scully with care. I don't know if that's kind of what I think she's the most associated with, but I think it's like pretty solid pairing overall. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Do you think it's above Barbie and utilitarianism and John Miller and duty?
That's a good question. I don't. Yeah, I'm not sold on Barbie and utilitarianism.
Really?
I just feel like the way that, like the way that McReady would like just shoot, his friend, if he thought he was the Thing, like that's utilitarian.
That is a good point. Yeah, I think so. So let's say we put Barbie and utilitarianism underneath that. Now, what about duty and John Miller versus Scully and care and feminist?
Man, my instinct wants to put duty and John Miller at the top just because, the soldier
I feel like,
again.
Duty is a loaded word, and it makes you, like, just hearing duty associates, like, military and that kind of stuff.
Duty to my country and that kind of thing. But the philosophy, I don't know. I think I think I might put it second.
I don't know. It's hard for me. I mean, I definitely do think that there are aspects of human dignity being respected in that film. But
Yeah, and the film is largely about like how do you find that kind of respect in a war, for your enemy that is trying to kill you.
I would put that one first.
Okay.
But
Yeah, let's do it then. That makes sense. You win.
well, I've seen all of the X-Files, so
Right, you would have a better idea.
okay. So we have John Miller and Duty, then Scully, Karen feminist, then Barbie utilitarianism, then R.J. McCready and virtue. Do you think Marlin and contractarianism?
Is it pronounced McCready?
Is it?
Well, you're probably right. I've just been saying McReady the whole time. I was like, wait.
I thought it was McCready.
Okay, well, from now on, we're going to do McReady. Okay. It sounds a lot better, so I like that. Okay, sorry. Not to distract from the
Okay, I
topic.
thought that's what they said in the movie, but I don't know.
Probably was. It's been like a year, so. Okay, yeah, so it's between Russell and natural law and Marlin and contract. Oh my God, this is so hard to say. You know what I mean.
It's
the contracts and
it's impossible to say.
Yeah. This is tough. I feel like these are both just not.
I would put Russell last with natural law.
Yeah, I think
that he would believe in unicorns.
But wait, Russell would?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. He is not grounded in reality. And I do think if Marlon was a little bit more like dominant or like had a little bit more agency in the film, like I wouldn't put it past him to be contractarianist. I just feel like he doesn't get the chance to show that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think does this look good to you?
Yeah.
All right, so we've got, just to go over things one more time, we've got Duty with John Miller, Care/Feminist for Scully, and then Barbie with Utilitarianism. Those are our top three that we think are, they make some sense. And then the ones that don't make sense are McCready and Virtue, Contractarianism and Marlin, and Russell and Natural Law. All right, so now that we've have our ranking, we're going to do a little reflection on how this went. So first off, which pairing do you think was like the hardest to decide?
I think it was hard to decide between Duty and John Miller and Karen Feminist and Scully. Definitely.
Yeah, I think those are both like solid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was tricky. So in terms of like patterns that I saw, I felt like one thing that comes to mind is just that I think a lot of these characters, what makes it hard is that they change throughout the duration of the film. So a really good example of this is, I think, Marlin. I feel like at the beginning, he's like all about natural law and like kind of the world and nature being like the ethical framework that he lives in. But by the end, he's like, he becomes more caring of a father. He's willing to like let his son do things that are maybe a little dangerous and make him worried.
Dad, I don't hate you.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry, Nemo.
So he kind of grows in that sense.
I think that more of the characters probably like that we thought of fit the Care framework.
Yeah.
Maybe also Virtue. But finding some of the other ones like utilitarianism and contractarianism were a lot harder to find.
Yeah. I think a lot of them, again, with like when they make a movement throughout the film, they're usually moving towards care. Like that's what they kind of learn is like, and I do like that ethical framework. So it makes sense to me. Yeah, I think care was probably the most common.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then finally, we get to get all meta with it and talk about how the podcast went on the podcast, I think. So, what do you think? How did this go? How do you feel?
I think it went awesome.
Yeah. No, this was just a thrill. I loved every second of it. Yeah. Sorry, that sounds like really sarcastic. It was only supposed to be a little sarcastic. It was fun. It's a fun assignment. Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely made us think a lot more about the frameworks, trying to fit characters that we didn't necessarily think fit the frameworks with those frameworks. Definitely made me, at least, think a lot more about what those frameworks meant.
Yeah, on the spot, too. And I think that's it from us. Signing off. This has been the Morality Machine. Yes?
Yep.
All right. Bye, guys.
You're so beautiful. I know it.